Sam Tompkins, you feel the immediacy of the occasion has just hit him. It's a day for him to stand up. His country expects. He's a young man of prodigious talent in those backs. Hadn't even played in Super League this time last year. Today he's a pivotal figure against the world's best. The starting pack today is the same starting six from the last time England played Australia in Melbourne 12 months ago. They'll be hoping to be a lot more dominant than they were on that day. England took a mauling, 52 points to 4. Darren Lockyer, the most capped Aussie of all time now. He also equals Clive Churchill's record of 27 times an Australian captain. We suspect we might see more of Jarryd Hayne as well this week. He was almost anonymous last week. And the forwards include one of the best dummy halves of all time in Cameron Smith, and Nathan Hindmarsh, one of the fittest 30-year-olds on the planet, is back in green and gold. They are two relatively inexperienced benches, but there is some real impact amongst the English interchanges. Burgess, Crabtree, the big hitters, Eastman, a real scampering threat. And amidst some controversy, but controversy seems to follow him around, Steve Ganson is our referee today. Wasn't exactly flavour of the week with the Australians last week, but they did request him to be here in charge today. It will be the Australians who kick off here, so the English will get first choice, first possession. Does mean that Adrian Morley is not going to be sent off for 12 seconds for a high tackle at least, doesn't it? Which is the exact event last time he played here in international football and Steve Ganson was the referee. Jonathan Thurston ready to get us underway. Adrian Morley hoping to be a giant amongst giants today. It's a game Australia cannot afford to lose. A win for England puts them in a rarefied Four Nations final. It should be a real stormer.
It should be a stormer. This is a big day for everyone involved. The England team really have got a marvellous opportunity of getting straight into the final and putting real pressure on this Australian side. And the first few collisions, Dave, very intense.
They're going to be absolutely ferocious. Here comes Graham, who was on the bench last week, started as an interchange, but is in the starting front line today. Sinfield throwing it away to Maguire. Maguire out to that right-hand side, and the first little glimpse of width from the English side as well. It's not just about piling it down the middle. It's as though they might take on the Aussie backs as well. Kick out from dummy half is not a bad one, but here's the man, Billy Slater, who loves to return kicks like this. England have to be careful, and they have been.
They really do, yeah. They don't want him fielding the ball too often on the fly there. But a very tough challenge there on Adrian Morley. We had him for an exceptional test match.
Cameron Smith is the man at dummy half. Hayne with a feed, with the play the ball rather. Taken in by Paul Gallen, one of only 6 Australian survivors from that Melbourne game just about 12 months ago. Here comes Hannant, rattle, absolutely rattle into the English pack. Is making its mark. Smith again, Sivanasiva, the old man of the front row for the Aussies. 10 yards inside English territory. That was tackle 5, so here comes 6. It's Smith to Thurston, little chip over the top. Thurston's been left flat on his back. Taken by Briscoe, the Aussies are onside, and England start from here.
Well, in that little early game of chess, that's Australia's, but again there's a bit of a collision there on Hannant from Morley, but a superb end to that set by the Australians. Thurston just dribbling the ball into the corner, and the kick chase as enthusiastic and intense as ever.
There's a lot of history between these two sides, these particular sides. England and Australia first faced each other back in 1909, but as England, they've only played against Australia 15 times since. Normally, of course, it's a Great Britain encounter. Here comes Sinfield with a kick away. Again, he's found the danger man, but Slater has to see it bounce beyond him before he can collect. He chases a decent one. The tackle was highish from Lee Smith, but he's done his job.
And very interestingly, Dave, they're also sitting Inglis at the back rather than Morris, so they really are trying to get their impact players receiving the ball early in the tackle count.
Here comes Sivanasiva, taken on by Ben Hannant. 3 gone, just inside English territory. This is Lockyer, ball on the inside for Gallen. Gallen almost working her way through, but felled. 2 to go. Now it's going to be a run from that dummy half position by Hodges, who's still 30 yards away, so here they come, central position. They've got potential right and left. Thurston hands it back on side to Slater. They're going to try and run it. Slater's well dealt with. It was a gamble by the Aussies, and they turned it over 20 yards out.
And that's pretty good edge defence there by the English team. That's where the Australians wanted to target the edges of the English defence. They handled it very well indeed on that last tackle power play. That
was a problem last year, wasn't it? The edge defence against Australia and New Zealand in the World Cup. Tony Smith's obviously worked a lot on that.
Well, he's also changed the personnel considerably as well, Dave.
Yeah, not many survive, certainly in the backs from that World Cup campaign. Here comes Peacock. Rather, it's driven in. Yes, it is Peacock. Playing in the second row, of course, today, or at least starting in the second row. Here comes Roby. Smith in at dummy half. Tackle 6. Maguire. High and spinning. Connected easily enough by Jared Hay. Well, he's rated as the best player in Australia at the moment, isn't he? Jared Hay. He won their Dally M Player of the Season award. Didn't see much of him last week. Early days so far this. Slater's the man at dummy half. He's trying to pile it in through Gallen. You sense a real nervousness amongst the Australians as well this week, don't you?
It's a very cagey opening by both teams. England obviously wanted to improve drastically on their performance, and Australia knowing full well what's at stake.
Oh, here they go. Here comes Inglis. Inglis bursting through. Support right and left. Lockyer on the inside. The pass is absolutely perfect. 5 minutes played. The Aussies have the opening score, and it came from the usual suspects. Inglis with a break as they went wide, and Lockyer, as ever, impeccable in support. Australia lead 4-0.
What a magnificent try from Darren Lockyer. Always makes a significant contribution at vital times. It's a shift from right to left. Thurston through to Lockyer. A lovely long pass there. It gave Inglis the space. And what about a decision making here? It just pulled the full back towards him. There's Lockyer supported on the inside. And that's a superb try. Beautiful shift. It's right from the sideline. Lots of lead runners there, but it's the backman Lockyer he picked out. Inglis, once he gets the ball in some space, it takes some stopping. But what I like about this guy, composure, and he just pops the ball up for a superb and international class try.
Well, as soon as you saw Inglis striding through,
Hi, mate. How are you?
You thought try.
All right.
And that's exactly as it turned out to be. So the noisy crowd is just silenced a little here. 14th international appearance for Greg Inglis, by the way. He has scored 13 tries, but he sets them up as we saw. Thurston with the conversion attempt. Right between the two uprights, and Australia lead by 6 points to 0. And a moment of history too for Darren Lockyer, equaling Ken Irvin's 33 Australian tries.
And what a good try it was, Dave. Superb skill in the shift, but that's the money ball. That's the great decision there when it was the long pass to Inglis, put him into space, and you just sense the Aussies just poured through in support as soon as the big centre got the ball in space.
Tough job, just got tougher. Here comes Hannon driving it in. Lockyer there as well. Smith at dummy half. Sivanasiva taking it forward. Smith slotting in. Behind Hindmarsh. Taken on by Gallen. Smith. Little ball back on the inside again. Working it tight, the Australians. The English defence for the time being remains tight. Thurston with a kick downfield into acres of space here. It's being chased as well by Hayne, but it bounces out of play. Was that a 40-20? Was he behind the 40 when he let fly with that?
I think it just outside.
Just outside.
Yeah, but it was a great set, Dave. That a very composed set. Once you've scored a try, you must keep your concentration, and then they did for the full set of 5 tackles up to the last tackle play there, and that's just a superb kick there from Thurston. It found terra firma, it dribbled over the sideline, And if you're saying we've just scored a try, we've just had a set of 6, we'll turn the ball over to England, that's a great place to turn the ball over, 10 metres away from the English goal line.
Let's hear from Justin Morgan on the touchline. Justin.
Yeah, very interesting, as John's already pointed out, that Inglis is playing on the left wing defensively, allowing him to link very well with his Melbourne Storm's teammate in Billy Slater. Not a bad start by the England team. They just need to stay composed, get themselves back in the game, and I expect that to happen through his next 3 or 4 minutes.
Of course, Justin is emotionless today because he's Welsh. It doesn't matter who wins.
It's a good call, though. This is a question, David, for England, just to be composed and show that self-belief, because they really have been tested with a very, very good start indeed by this Australian side.
Sinfield's taken it to within 10 yards of the halfway line. Roby gets it onto Graham. Graham now running in but not making too much purchase. 6 tackle is the next, so out it comes to Sinfield. Sinfield with a little grubber kick through. Thurston turns and chases. Maguire's after it. Oh, it's a fumble for Thurston. Picked up by Slater. Slater now can run it away. Danger here, but Lee Smith has him and made the tackle.
We like that as a kicking option, though, David. That's putting the ball there into no man's land. It's saying to Billy Slater, you're not going to take this ball easily on the fly. Your courage is going to be tested with a 50-50 ball.
Damien's on the touchline. Damien, what news?
Yes, the Aussie fullback Billy Slater in the wars. He's taken a knock to his leg. He's already had treatment for a blood injury, a bloody nose, but he's keen to stay out there, hobbling along. He's an influential figure, of course.
Absolutely. Here comes Thurston. Inside for Hindmarsh. Upended and put down, Nathan Hindmarsh. Just on the halfway line. Smith. Little kick into that pocket again, which has given work for Sean Briscoe, who comes across in the face of Brett Morris's chase. It's a risky pass. It's the kind of play England have to produce inside their own 20, isn't it?
It is, but once again, Dave, look where they're turning the ball over Australia. It's relentless, this pressure. They're consistently giving England the ball, tackle one, within 10 metres of their own goal line.
Here's Roby. Tony Smith looking on in intense concentration. Ellis to his feet. Roby, now Morley. Driving it in, and the Aussies are caught offside. It's a relieving penalty for the English. And it's a relieving cheer from the English supporters as well. And a bit of a word out of place, so another 10 yards downfield.
He's picked the wrong man, hasn't he, Jonathan Thurston there. And one of the features of the Australian game, though, Dave, is the speed of the defensive line. But they just jumped the gun a little there. Steve Ganson caught them, and then a little bit of descent, and it's given a great opportunity for England in great field position.
And now we're hearing the Wigan roar with 11 minutes played, very nearly. And England in their best position so far. Here's Maguire, dummying the switch on the inside, but 3 defenders were not fooled. Here's Roby, standing up. It's not the best, quickest play the balls either. Sinfield, channelling it out again. Here's Ellis. What's going on here? Thurston, speaking out of turn again, having a real chat at the referee. Steve Ganson heard that and said, come here, son. I've got a talking to administer to you.
You come here.
Touch judge is in on it as well. This is the New Zealand touch judge who's getting over there, Adam Burns.
My colleague on the touch on the side is repeatedly calling the player. I've spoke to you about coming back 10, then penalise you for it. You're repeating to do it. Next time I'll take stronger action. He's marking the 10, he's calling out all the time. I back my colleague, you're back with the line. Okay, I told you.
You get the impression Jonathan Thurston's not convinced.
I think Jonathan Thurston's a little concerned about they've got 2 referees in Australia, you see, Dave. One looks after the ruck area, one the 10 metres, and I think Thurston's a little confused, but makes no odds. Steve Ganson will referee the game as he sees it.
Here comes Roby, England in prime position here. Graham now, along the line to Maguire. Maguire setting up Ellis. Ellis just tottering into that tackle. Down he goes, 5 yards away. Maguire's there again, 3 to his left, all the rest to his right. Oh, it's a slow one. Morley had to stoop. Did well to keep hold of that. Lost all his momentum. This is Roby. Inside for Sinfield. Sinfield sees the gap, went for it, throws it away. Literally, what knows there to collect it for the Aussies.
Well, I believe that was a half chance, Dave. There was a misread in the Australian defence, but the first people to react, unfortunately for the English in the crowd, was an Australian. Yes, Sinfield shows the ball, and the dummy was bought by the man who actually received the ball, Anthony Wathmo. It just came out of the defensive line, half a break from Sinfield, but it's a chance gone a begging.
Here they go wide again, but Ryan Hall is quickly into the ribs of Justin Hodges, stemming what was looking to be an ominous tide. England happy to tackle here if they can.
Move! Go.
Smith, now Thurston. Thurston gets the kick away. It's young Briscoe who's underneath that. He had to take it because it would have been a 40-20, and he's done that ever so well, Tom Briscoe, and he's almost got away as well.
Yeah, but once again, look at that chase from Morris and Inglis. The middle chase is not so good from the Aussies, but that was an outstanding edge chase from the centre and the wingman.
19 years of age, Tom Briscoe. He's the youngest man out there.
Great composure that, wasn't it? Because he didn't ask questions. Was it a 40-20? Was he inside the 40, the kicker? He just acted in a very assertive manner. Great play.
Just a couple of internationals under his belt so far against Wales and France, and with all due respect, that's not like playing the Aussies. That was a lost ball by Jamie Peacock. Head and feed Australia.
Yeah, he's looking to offload a feature that Justin picked out before, and you've got to take the chance, a calculated chance. Peacock looked to get his right hand free to offload, made the error there. Intense Australian defence, and that comes up with Australian head and feet. I believe that's the first error that England have made in the game up to now, and we're 14 minutes into the game.
So a real test for England here, having to defend inside their own half. Hayne, the danger man, is dragged down. Here's Hodges. The referee says play on, even though Tompkins is in his face. Gets it away to Hayne again, who runs into a cul-de-sac down this right-hand side. But they've got all the way to their left to work now. This is Thurston. Sivanasiva trying to set things up again here. The solid platform laid. And a man who plays for Penrith these days. Now Thurston, out to Lockyer. Look at the space here. Slater just slides through, and Slater will go over. Anyone at 3 might have scored that. England's right-hand side defence ripped open again. The speed of thought and the speed of handling, and Slater's in, and Australia up to 10.
Well, I'm very impressed with this Australian start, and they're playing very much as West Tigers play. They're really not, which is obviously Coach Tim Seen's club side. The error came from Jamie Peacock, with tough Australian defence forcing it as Peacock's lost to offload. Field position for Australia. We saw this shape before on the previous try. It's Thurston to Lockyer. That time he didn't go for the long pass, he went for the short pass to Billy Slater, running on an outline on the outside shoulder of the British defence, the English defence, and he's certainly got enough pace to make it over the goal line. A little bit of indecision from Lee Smith. Made the wrong decision, but you do that when lots of numbers are sent through at you, and that's a superb try. If he gets space, just as Inglis, they're very, very dangerous. Lots of speed, lots of skill, lots of evasive ability.
And it's all gone quiet at the DW Stadium. Just a familiar sinking feeling settling in amongst English supporters at the moment. It's going to take quite a response here. Jonathan Thurston.
Well, it is, Dave, it is a test match, and it's a test of every aspect of your rugby league playing ability. It's also a test of your character.
Thurston from the touchline. It's a difficult kick. Australian captain on today by Jonathan Thurston, and he curls that one just wide, just shaving the upright. So just a 1 out of 2 so far, but Australia still leading here by 10 points to 0, courtesy of Billy Slater's 9th Australian try.
And wasn't it great skill? Once again, it's a moving dummy half play. Thurston, Lockyer, and then up pops the speed merchant Billy Slater on an outside line run, and he really did. He just got on the outside of Smith and then made it to the goal line for a tremendous try once again with that right to left shift. 2 tries very identical.
Hodges is the man who moves up at dummy half. England desperate now. They need to score the next try, you feel. 17 minutes played. Here's Sivanasiva. In and down. Cameron Smith, the man at dummy half. Hindmarsh alongside him, the man who just simply doesn't stop running, Nathan Hindmarsh. Well, he's attacking or defending. Smith again. Thurston. They've worked it to that left-hand flank once again, and here they come pouring through. Who scores this time? Slater with a second. Little sidestep on the inside of Ryan Hall, underneath the sticks this time. Memories of Melbourne are flooding back. It's the Melbourne influence that is making its mark. Billy Slater in for his second, and already Australia lead by 14 points to 0.
Well, we thought they were going to attack the edges time after time, and that got the first 2 tries. But this is a completely different try. It's a beautiful soft pass there from Thurston to Watmore, who was just sauntering up into the next hole. And then once again, he released the danger man Inglis down that left-hand side. It's a superb pass, this. It just is asking the English players to come towards him out of the defensive line. That's what Sinfield does. Pops it up for Watmore. Inglis is there again. This guy's got great composure. He inevitably makes the right decision. That time it's to Slater on the inside. Slater beats the covering Ryan Hall to cross underneath the post. Absolutely magnificent skill from this Australian team. They haven't, David, made an error as of yet, and they're playing rugby league of the highest quality.
How do you change this? If the Australian coach Tim Sheens, you don't want to change this, do you?
No, you just sense that these have had a really purposeful practice week of the Australians after their wake-up call against New Zealand. They look rusty. I'll tell you what, they don't look rusty today.
Jonathan Thurston from right underneath the sticks. You back him to put this one over. 16-0. Australia lead. They're off to a flyer here. And those hats that looked a little silly last week look a little better in the sunshine here today.
What a superb try. That's the money ball. It's lovely soft hand. Sucks infield out of the defensive line. Again, Smith and Maguire, they really are targeting that side. And that's the side that Inglis and Slater have had so much joy with so early in the game. Billy Slater crosses for try number 2 personally.
Sinfield with a kick downfield again. He's getting plenty of practice at that at the moment. Here comes Hannon back towards the 20-metre mark. And Australia go again. It's been an awful long time since England last had possession. As Gallen takes it in. Here's Hodges now, looking to his left. Here they come again. How many green and golds out there? They've dropped the ball. It's an ironic cheer from the English crowd. The Australians have dropped the ball.
Yeah, and once again, this is good field position for England. It's only the second time, really, they'll have been starting a set in the Australian half. But once again, they're looking to create, and they're looking to create at the right edge of England. And it was Watmore that time on an inside ball from Lockyer. Couldn't quite handle it. And it's England with a good ball start.
They need to build here. Here's Tompkins. We've hardly seen anything of him so far. It's due to the fact that his side are on the back foot. There's no criticism of that young man. This is Ellis. Can't offload, and he's pushed back a yard or 2.
Yeah, I think that possession tells the tale, yes, and the territory.
And here comes Crabtree. He can make a difference. Certainly shake them up. And they've also got Burgess on. 2 subs on, and immediately both of them involved. And they have a penalty as well here. Second man in, I think. Just a bit of extras after the tackle was complete.
Well, you asked David, what could you do to change things? Well, that's one thing you can do. Change your personnel and send your interchange bench on there and ask them to make an impact. And that's what Ellis and Burgess have done.
Here comes Maguire down this left-hand side. Tompkins with a step on the inside. Holds it away from Lockyer. Crabtree from a standing start. Trying to shake off Hindmarsh, but can't do so. Crawls into the 10-metre line. And picks himself up slowly. Roby now to Sinfield. Sinfield to Maguire. Rushed at quickly. Out of defence by Watmore. They try to force the pass. Here they go again. Australia are through. Mistake from England. And all the way, it will be the distance. There's absolutely no stopping them. They won't stop him today. They won't stop him next week. Over he goes. Greg Inglis. Try number 4 for Australia. His first of the afternoon. And Australia at 20-0 from a position of such a parlous position to a position of ultimate attack.
Well, for the first time, England look to have some momentum, but this really is a defensive win try for the Australian side. They really are being relentless. They are being ruthless. They're pressuring England with ball in hand. They're pressuring England without ball in hand. The defensive decision there from Watmough, superb. Put Maguire under pressure. A forced pass to Burgess. Couldn't hang on to it. But the skill there from Thurston just to release Inglis. They don't look just to clamp the ball. They look to play immediately. That's what they did. Thurston popped the ball to Inglis. He was full of confidence. He had the pace and the evasive skills to cross underneath the posts. Tremendous Australian work there in defence led to that try.
If you're sitting at home and sagging ever deeper into your settee and worrying about England's chances, just set aside those nationalistic feelings and just remember you're watching an absolute masterclass here today. It's an Australian side who last year many critics were saying were the best in the world, the best they'd ever been, even in green and gold. Well, just at the moment they are proving their worth, certainly in their backs. There haven't been many to match them over the years. Thurston looking to add another 2. It is 22 points to 0 and Damian Johnson is down on the touchline.
Cooper Cronk, the Aussie halfback. Cooper, a sensational start by the Aussies.
Yeah, it is good, mate. We had a few hiccups last week. The boys obviously fixed things on the training paddock, scored some points early, which is always good in a game of footy.
Are you out of sight already?
Pardon, mate?
Are you out of sight already?
I don't understand, mate, sorry.
Are the Aussies home and dry out already?
No, I wouldn't say that, mate. I think the Pommies played some pretty good footy last week in their second half, so no doubt that'll be what Sheens will be talking about, mate.
Thanks, Cooper.
English idioms. Two nations separated by the same language. Australia back in possession. What more can they produce here now? How long have we played? 24 minutes? And they have scored 4 sensational tries. They have come from a distance. They've all come down that same flank, haven't they? Greg Inglis, Darren Lockyer, Billy Slater, the common theme in all 3, either scoring or setting up.
It is, David, but also if you look defensively, you know how many tackles they've missed? Zilch, 0. So they're not only good with ball in hand, they're pretty good when they're having to defend as well.
Here comes tackle 6, Australia with Smith from dummy half. A flick downfield. Tom Briscoe collects and he'll hear those thumping hooves coming behind him. Inside to his namesake, but no relative, Sean Briscoe. Briscoe's done well to evade the first man, but goes down under the second.
But again, look at the kick, Dave. When they're having to clear their own half, Australia, they're inevitably ending up with a great distance kick. That England, the first tackle of the England set, is within 10 metres of their own goal line. It's absolutely first-class rugby. You described it, Dave, a masterclass. That's what it is at this moment in time.
Picked up by Roby from dummy half this time, and in by Sam Burgess, who the Australians will be seeing an awful lot more of next season. He's on his way to Souths, is Sam Burgess. Russell Crowe's Souths. I'm sure that Russell Crowe will be watching this somewhere, someplace. Filming in Pittsburgh at the moment, but he watched both of last week's games, we're told. Roby out from acting half again. Inside the 40, where's this going to go? Slater catches. Here comes trouble. Slater has it 80 yards away. Now Jared Hay. He'll be feeling a little envious of all the action his teammates have been seeing, Jared Hay.
Yeah, but it's obviously a conscious decision by coach Tim Sheens and how he set his team up really to pepper the English right-hand side, and it's been very, very effective indeed.
Morris yanked down. This is Brett White, one of the Australian interchangers, who's taken it in. Tim Sheens will be sitting a lot more comfortably than he was before this game began, knowing that the Aussies at that stage were staring down a barrel. Had they lost today, they would have been effectively out of the 4 nations. As it is, they are nailing their colours to that favouritism mast again here. Ganson says 5 tackles gone, so here comes 6. This is Lockyer. He's drilling and watching it bounce and dribble towards Briscoe, who takes a difficult bounce, and look who's the first man there. Lockyer with a tackle.
And look where the tackle is once again. They're playing a great field position game, Dave. Tackle won again within 10 metres of the English line.
The English are being absolutely smothered here at the moment. Smith out from dummy half this time. Young man who's on his way to rugby union, to Wasps, once this season series has finished. Now Burgess looking to carry it in with some purpose. Roby. Ellis this time. It's not a bad English pack on paper, but they are not quite having the domination they would have wanted. Oh, and a quick ball is intercepted by Gallant. You can't just give it away.
Well, I think we can count ourselves lucky it went to Paul Gallen rather than one of the flyers.
Here is one of the flyers, Justin Hodges. 20 yards out. 2 tackles gone. Australia poised again here. Picked up by Smith. Now Thurston. Thurston along that line. Watmore. He's going to be held up, wrestled down, dealt with. An Australian threat dealt with, but temporarily, that's all. And for too long in that tackle. So a penalty, another set of 6. They're not going to go for 2, are they? Alfie Langer, the water carrier, is on the pitch, and he pointed at the sticks, but I think the players out there have decided that they are going to go for another 6 if they can. Thurston out to Lockyer. Lockyer throws it out. Here comes Slater. Slater carried on now. He gets it away. Taken on by Hodges. Hodges wrestled down by Ryan Hall, the Leeds flyer. But another 5 to come. Thurston. Lockyer. Inside it goes. White. Here's Cameron Smith. Smith's got so many players enthusiastically wanting that ball. There was a hint of a forward pass there towards Shillington. Referee didn't see it that way. Shillington to his feet. Smith again. Back to Thurston. Thurston along the line. Ryan Hall came in, then has to go out because here comes Hayne. But Hall's done well with a little help from Michael Shenton, the young Castleford centre. Wrapping up Hayne between them. Now Thurston. Thurston on the inside again to Gallen. Gallen tries to take them on by himself. Offloaded, went backwards. Referee says play on. Picked up by Hodges. Here comes tackle 6. 5 tackles repelled by the English so far. Thurston, Lockyer. Lockyer looks left, slides it through. Well picked up by Maguire. England survive. Well, the Aussies aren't dangerous 20 yards out. It's only 80 yards you have to worry.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought England looked very comfortable with that piece of online defence. It was a good set for them. They'll take heart from that. But we really do. We just cannot get into the Australian half of the field. This defensive end, the kicking game, and the defence from Australia is sensational. The ball in hand, everybody can appreciate, but I think we also need to appreciate things like the rush defence there from the interchange player White that forced that error. Really is outstanding defence from the Australians. There it is, floor of the defensive line. Burgess half a look, and it wasn't the best of pass from dummy half, and that's what forced the error.
Justin Morgan on the touchlines. What are you thinking, Justin?
Well, the Australians are playing fantastically at the moment. They're just applying a huge amount of pressure, and as been mentioned in commentary, the kicking game's been first class. A little bit unusual that right-hand side of England is a little bit shaky because the 3 players that are defending there are all from the same team, so you'd expect them to have a good understanding. So they'll need to get that sorted out if they're going to stop the continuation of tries down that edge.
There's another little bit of nonsense going on here, which is just heating a little.
Adam, come on the field.
Ben Westwood.
Adam.
He's the English player who's seemed to be at the centre of that.
Come on. Okay, mate, we're on the
Adam Burns, the New Zealand touch judge, is being invited on by the referee. Well, there was the arm, wasn't it?
Yeah, Lee Smith there, no doubt about that. It's a bit churlish, to tell you the truth. The best way to answer questions about your ability to show how good you are playing rugby league rather than resort to foul tactics.
So a penalty here for Australia.
If you put your flag up, pal. No worries. All right.
10 yards, 15 yards away. Lewis is on now. Luke Lewis, he's replaced Nathan Hindmarsh. And Robbie Farah has also come on in place of Cameron Smith, so the West Tigers hooker, there he is, will take the tap and lead the charge again in the shape of Shillington. Here comes Farah. Farah with a couple of dummies. The fresher legs Luke Lewis, but bundled down. Big hit by Sam Burgess. He's a man who can produce the big hits. Thurston, little dummy on the inside, little magical touch as well. But Earl Crabtree round his calves and pulls him down. Farah. Oh, it's almost intercepted. Maguire hit it. Back to one. Here they come. Inglis, out it goes. Try. Brett Morris, second Test match appearance. Second try for Australia. 26-0 now with a kick to come.
Yeah, I think that's a little unfortunate, really, for the English side there. They really got off the line there on that defensive set, but it was a bit of a wayward pass from Farah. And Maguire got his hands, it just couldn't hold it, but you've got to applaud once again the reaction of the Australian players. It was Luke Lewis that released Inglis, and then he put the wingman over. There's the error. Then look at the Australian reaction. We'll attack, so they moved the ball from where the error was made, moved it to where the space is, and that's the end result. A try for Brett Morris down in the left-hand corner.
As a twin brother, Josh Morris. My God, they are identical twins as well.
He's not a bad player as his twin brother either.
I had the pleasure of meeting his twin this week, Josh. His mother arrived, their mother arrived just in time for last week's game, and I mean just in time for last week's game. A couple of hours to spare, having flown all the way from Australia. She'll be here as well, no doubt, today. She saw one of her twins. He's the younger of the twins by about 10 minutes, is Brett Morris. He scored last week on his debut, and he scored again here as well. And there's a muttering around the stadium now. You can almost sense the emotions have gone from the expectations amongst the English fans, the hopefulness of the English fans, the despair of seeing their side being beaten so heavily, and now this appreciation of what they are watching. Green and gold, arguably one of the greatest rugby sides of either code, rugby league or rugby union.
Well, it was claimed last year, wasn't it, Dave? But I don't think they fulfilled that. But if they keep performing like this, that will be confirmed.
Here comes Thurston off the touchline, trying to sweep it in, but hasn't quite got it right. So it remains at 26 points to nil.
Well, here we've got Roby, and there's the error forced by the speed of line. It was one of the features of the Australian game against New Zealand, and then ill discipline from Smith, and they're hard enough to stop anyway without giving them a repeat sets. And although they were in the face there, putting pressure on them, and Maguire made the error, played straight off that error, and there was a try in the left-hand corner.
Oh, Burgess with a big hit, and he has left Brett White sprawled on the ground. And the referee wants to hear from the video ref here.
Yep. Very composed, Mr. Ganson.
Well, the arm was swung,
Well,
but he missed. He missed with the arm.
It was a clumsy, wasn't it, really? It was obviously what he was trying to do. It's a head clash.
I think he's hit his chest, hasn't he? The shoulder into the jaw.
Yeah. I mean, he was really trying to impose himself upon Brett White with Sam Burgess, trying to put a big shot on him. Be very physical, but it's a clumsy challenge, really. It's been a head clash, and I think Mr. Ganson's taking the correct action. It was illegal, but it was clumsy illegal, unintentional illegal, and a penalty is the correct result.
Well, it just shows how referees have eased off a little over the years, isn't it? It was a similar tackle that got Adrian Morley sent off when he hit Robbie Kearns after, 12 seconds here a few years ago.
I think we'd debate, David. I think that was a little worse.
It's a test match. Dragged towards the touchline. The England forwards looking to try to impose themselves here. 26-0 down.
Move! Hold! Go!
Picked up from dummy half by Farah. Thurston. Here's Farah again. At acting half.
Go!
Big Liverpool fan, Robbie Farah. He's paid £500 last week to watch him against Manchester United, so they're obviously paying him too much, these Kangaroos, if they can afford to pay for tickets like that. Oh, it's a good offload here. Knock on by Luke Lewis.
Yes.
So a little bit of relief.
It is some relief, and I think that's out of number 2, isn't it? That's all. But in all honesty, it took the odds, did Anthony Watmoe, and perhaps Luke Lewis should have been more alert. But I think he was already lining himself up for the next play off to play the ball. But it is a bit of a relief for England, and at least it gives them ball in hand in reasonable field position.
5 minutes at half time. England 0, Australia 26. Big hit forward by Gareth Ellis towards the halfway line. Roby now is a dummy half. Here comes Burgess again, looking for a bit more. And Brett White went looking for him as well, but he was left in his slipstream. The ball was hooked away. Penalty England. And Burgess has just got him a little rattled, hasn't he, since he came on?
Well, he's a big kid, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean,
and likewise Crabtree. They've both made a bit of an impact, haven't they?
they have. that the scoreline still remains 0, David, which is credit, again, as we said before, to the Australian defence. I think Gareth Ellis has played very well as well. He's been unnoticed, but he's been doing lots of little things very, very well indeed.
Roby at dummy half, 15 yards out, dummies 1, dummies 2, throws it out to Tompkins. Tompkins down. He's not had the ball in his hands too often today, Sam Tompkins. Just to reiterate, that's no criticism of him. That's lost by Roby. Now, it's been 2 knock-ons there, surely, but the referee says play on.
Well, I felt that I was with Mr. Gans. I felt the referee, the Australian player, Thurston, played at the arm of Roby, and Roby was carrying the ball with arms outstretched, and that's quite legal. He lost the ball, so it's play on.
Well, that's lost again. Picked up by Roby. Spinning away. Here comes the Wigan roar again now. 3 minutes at half-time. England needs something, and here comes Crabtree. Frying it forward. Still wrestling. It's in the blood. Big Daddy and all that, you'll have heard the story a million times. Roby from dummy half. Tried to go and reach, didn't quite have it. Another penalty here. One tackle, then another. They don't want to take their time here, England. They want to get on with it. Keep the pressure on. Out to Sinfield. Sinfield to Maguire. Maguire steps away from Lockyer, but then runs into a pocket full of trouble. 3 of them in green and gold. Roby. Tompkins. Hammered as he took that ball. No way through whatsoever. It's a ground he knows so well, of course, the Wigan Warriors starlet. Now Maguire. Maguire to Crabtree. Crabtree is trying to spin his way through again. There's hope here for England. 5 yards out. Sinfield, flat ball, knock on. Knock on by Farah. Head and feed England with 2 and a bit minutes to play in this half.
Well, it's the second time really that England have had some momentum, and they're getting this will be the 3rd consecutive set they'll have possession. You could see there Sinfield just trying to put the big fella through the gap. Farah half read it, but he just played it, the ball came with an error. So it's the 3rd set in good field position for England, and they really do need something on the scoreboard, Dave, before half time.
Tompkins out to Maguire. Maguire, couple of dummies. Flashed down by Slater. Thurston was there too. Briscoe, Sean Briscoe's up at dummy half. It's going to be in this time by Westwood. Roby now. Sinfield. Sinfield to Tompkins. Tompkins throws it high and wide. Here comes Hall. He's a real finisher, but not when there's 5 in his way. And he has to come back down the middle to look for another route.
It was the wrong pass, was the long floated when it allowed the Australians to regroup.
Roby again. Sinfield. Sinfield now. Kevin Sinfield. Such a star for his lead side this year. Held up 5 away. Roby now. Oh dear. It's a knock on. Didn't play the ball. And all that comes to nothing.
Well, when we've asked questions about Australia with ball in hand, they've answered them. And when we've asked questions with Australia having to defend, they've answered them. And this is the, shall we say, a bit of a schmozzle at the play of the ball. And it ended up with Australia's head and feet. So I've no doubt they'll just look to clear their own danger zone and finish the half in positive frame of mind, which obviously the scoreline, Dave, of 26 points to 0 will allow them to do so.
Well, they've shown the real touch around the fringes, haven't they? A real finishing masterclass in this first half. 4 tries, 5 tries, all of special quality. And here they come again, Thurston now. And the right flank is Gallen. 15 seconds left of this first half, so a couple, maybe more, for Australia to try to drive it in. And by Shillington. Shillington's dealt with. This will be the last act of the first half now. The final moment. It's Lockyer. They're going for glory. The ball's been lost. It's pinging around all over the place. Still going, still going. Here comes Inglis. Inglis throws it out. The tackle needs to be a good one. There's still danger here, but he stepped out of play. Thankfully, from an English point of view, Morris, I think it was, who stepped out of play. Well, the boos are for the English side. That's the reaction. England supporters booing England, but you should really be standing on your chairs and applauding an Australian masterclass. Half-time, it's England 0, Australia 26. The question is there any way back from here for England?
Well, 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 Australia came here with something to prove. The draw against New Zealand had just made them angry, and England, young, inexperienced, full of hope and promise, felt the full impact of that anger. A record-equalling try for Darren Lockyer was followed by 2 super-fast tries from the man known as Billy Whiz, Billy Slater. When England threatened, they made a mistake, and boy, was it punished. An interception from Greg Inglis, try number 4. That was 22 points in 24 minutes. And so easy for him between the posts. Brett Morris, the NRL's top try scorer this season, wanted one for himself. That made it 26-0. And although there was pressure from England in the last few minutes, 3 repeat sets, it came to nothing. And you sense it could be nothing by the end of the match. It's been desperate stuff, hugely impressive for Australia though. Let's hear what Damian Johnson and Justin Morgan make of it all.
26-0 at half-time then, Justin. Can you see a way back for England?
Well, it's a long, very, very steep hill for them to get back, but I think they're going to have to cut out some of the errors that they've been making in their own end. They're going to have to get a little bit creative in the first 10 or 15 minutes of the second half to make sure they get on the scoreboard. It's possible, but at the moment it looks very unlikely.
The Kangaroos have been terrific, haven't they?
Well, they've been fantastic. I mean, I think that left-hand edge, they've been showing so much speed and agility to break the line. Their halfbacks, Thurston and Lockyer, have been first class. Their kicking game's been great. The field position that they've won in this first half has been the best I've seen for a number of games so far from the Aussies.
You mentioned cutting out some of the defensive errors. Would you point the finger at the defensive line on occasions?
Well, a very difficult thing when you come to international games is you get players from different teams and they play under different systems, so that can sometimes be a little bit difficult. But on that right-hand side, there's Maguire, Smith and Sinfield who all play for the Rhinos, so you'd expect them to have a better understanding, and that's where the breaks have been made at the moment. So they're going to just have to become a little bit more decisive. Whichever decision they make, they're just going to have to make them a little bit quicker and try and shut down the ball players of the Aussies.
Burgess has made a bit of an impact from the bench. Do you expect Eastman to come on and maybe have a go?
Well, I think they're going to have to put Eastman on because he's something that can provide a little bit of the X factor. He can run off the back of a few offloads. He can get into dummy half. He's going to have to try something early in the second half. If they can get a roll on in the first 10 or 15 minutes, they might find their way back. But as I've already mentioned, I think it's going to be very, very difficult because this Aussie team looks very, 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 very good at the moment.
Thanks very much, Justin.
Thank you.
Well, it looks like Tony Smith isn't going for the hairdryer routine. Maybe consolation, Brian Noble. What will he be saying to them?
I'm not sure the hairdryer will cure their problems. I think he needs to be concise, he needs to be clever. They've got to look after the ball first and foremost. I think they've just given Australia every opportunity to attack the England line, and that's been the key to Australia's success. It's just if we were to look at the stats and if we were to see what the stats were saying, they'd just say the self-same thing.
Well, I'll show you the stats and talk us through them because, I mean, possession obviously and territory are key.
Well, the possession and territory numbers are heavily in Australia's favour because what England have done with the ball. They made 7 errors with the ball, they've missed tackles on the back of that, and their kicking game hasn't been as good as Australia's. They ran out of patience very early on in the game, and the way the Australians are carrying the ball back at them tends to suggest that the game's being played in England's half of the field, and that's the last thing you can do against the green and golds, and you don't compound it with errors either.
Like the metres there, like 328 metres, 649 metres. You know, I know that some of them have been long distance tries, but the difference is I just don't understand. We mentioned earlier, it's in a test match, it is like an arm wrestle. You're patient, you get your kicking game, and then you try and force an error in their, in their half. That's all it is, because you're not going to score tries, because defences are so strong. For some reason, England have really struggled to get out of their own quarter. There doesn't seem to be an exit strategy, no dummy runners. The Australian defence is very, very strong, and it has been for 50 years, right? But I don't see why they don't work an exit plan to get yardage. Even if they go down early in a tackle, dominate the tackle area, have quick play of the ball, so then you can bring Roby or anyone into the acting halfback, and then get a good kicking game. The kicking game, the difference in the kicking game at the moment is astronomical. Cameron Smith is dictating the kicking play from acting halfback, and then field position. I feel sorry for Briscoe, the wing, and Briscoe, the fullback. They pick the ball up, Sean and Tom. They're in the 10-metre area up against the touchline. They've got no chance.
The other thing that seems just to be happening, watching it from here, is the pace is so different. When Australia have the game, it's like it's in fast forward, and when England get the ball, it slows down again.
It's because they haven't had any ball play. sometimes you can look like you've got a lack of speed or a lack of enthusiasm when you don't touch the ball. When your bigger blokes are dropping the ball on play 4 and you're not quite pinging the kicks, we've seen Thurston and Lockyer and Smith absolutely nail their kicks to within 5 metres of the England try line. And unfortunately, England are not doing the same. And that's what you have to do. What Jonathan means by an exit set, it means getting out of your own half. Yeah. You've got to be able to get out of your own half without any errors, with a view to kicking the ball and putting Australia under the same kind of pressure that they put our players under. As Jonathan said there, Sean Briscoe and Tom Briscoe, because they've obviously picked this right-hand side of England. Well, get out of that side. You've got a young bloke and an experienced full-back at international football.
Well, let's have a look at a record-equalling try scored by Darren Lockyer. It was Australia's first try. Lockyer made it and scored it.
Well, first thing, Thurston goes to the line and holds that defence. Then a dummy runner comes in and drags those 2 players in. And there's Lockyer then, who just gets on the outside. There you go, bang. Lee Smith is caught. There's a long pass. They don't know whether to come in or go out. Both Leeds players. Once that happens, it's good night. Anyone of 4 can score there. And if you are coming up, you come up early and stay up, or you stay back. Just hold. There's a dummy pass. They've had one dummy runner going through. They've had one runner hold his line, and then you just stream through. And once they go through, that is it.
Well, the other one who was hugely influential was the guy they called Billy Whiz, Billy Slater. I mean, he scored 2 tries within a couple of minutes. Before we see that, though, let's have a look at Kevin Sinfield. A mistake that was a definite chance. England could have scored here.
The break is on. The gap opens up, look. Hindmarsh is there, OK? But then you go to ground. You don't give the ball away, and that's what you mean by build pressure. You have to build pressure. If the pass isn't on, OK, great. In a club match, maybe you have an opportunity to score again. Against Australia, you don't. It's as simple as that. You have a chance at club level, you don't have a chance at the national level. You don't have the ball in for 10 minutes, or when you do have it, put old Tom and Sean back in their own in-goal area, running 90 metres against a full complement of Australian defenders. It's just a matter of patience, a little bit of inexperience, and they are just trying this. The offloads are creeping in. You don't do it. You just got to hold on and just wait for the mistake and build, as we've said, build pressure and have repeat sets.
I was looking through the notes on the Australian players before we started, and Billy Slater was once upon a time a jockey.
Yeah.
I tell you what, he knows all about speed. He is the fastest player on the pitch, is he not?
Well, he got injured first of all.
Yeah, we thought he might be going off.
Myself and Jonathan were trying to get the rifle out to increase his injury because, again, England giving Australia free field position, and when you do that, you've got Slater on the end of a mess, and just Smith gives himself too much to do. There's plenty of space. We see him highlighted there, Lee Smith. He's got plenty of people out there, so those 2 outside people got to make the decision to come in or go out. He gets caught in between, facing inwards, and Billy Slater just beats him for speed.
Jonathan?
There we are, and this is the second Billy Slater try. That's just, nothing on really. They pull through tackle, they stand off them on the defensive line. Thurston comes to the line all the time, bursts the tackle, gets his hands free, and then you've got Inglis and Slater, and then you've got no chance. Once they make the break, you've got no chance because they are so quick. The support will pile through, and and what happens again? How often do you see tries? One from a ball that goes to ground, a mistake. Because what happens, everyone focuses on the ball, defence congregates, right? And if you get 2 passes away from the traffic area, whoosh, it's gone, and that's where the space is. And that's all they've done. They switch on, they know where the space is going to be, away from where the mistake has been made. And they're just a little bit sharper at the moment.
It is an impressive thing to watch, though, when you see a player at full stretch, and Greg Inglis was. I mean, an interception. He runs virtually the length of the pitch. It's an incredible thing to see.
Well, it comes from... It happens to be Burgess who just knocks it forward, but it's not a great pass from Danny Maguire. But again, we see what Jonathan's saying is that what they do off the ball, we coaches talk about what you do off the ball. You're alive even though you're not involved. What you're doing away from the ball, as soon as an opportunity is there, Thurston pops it on the button from the bounce. Ball hits the ground, everybody else stops except Thurston and Inglis. Yeah. Inglis says, no, I can go the distance here because there's a space. And that's what we see, and in full flight.
Lee Smith is sucked in. He knows how to run the outside shoulder of Lee Smith. Thurston knows he's going to do it, but again, it's come from Danny Maguire. It's not Burgess's fault. It's another forced pass from England. What you've got to do is go to ground, in your own in the opposition quarter. Last tackle, you hit it up in the air, right? Billy Slater, we've mentioned he's a jockey, right? He's not the tallest. If you get people running at him, it's a 50-50 opportunity to score a try. It's not when you drop the ball.
And it must be, if you're playing in a side where tries are coming so freely, everybody's starting to go, I want one. And Brett Morris was definitely thinking that.
Well, it's they come in, it's a mistake. Goya comes in for it, but that's an easy run in for him. And we've always mentioned, I think if you look at team sports, you've got Australia Rugby League, you've got New Zealand Rugby Union, Brazilian football maybe, and these boys are up there in the same breath as those sides.
You mentioned the kicking game and how superior, or what the gulf between Australia's kicking game and England's kicking game.
Just watch this, but look at the pressure on him. He throws a dummy to go the other way, and that's a beautiful kick, splitting the two Briscoes. Okay, Thomas Shaw, and look at the chase. Yeah, pass it, but he's still the chase 10 metres. And what happens then? The force, I've got time to get back, and if he doesn't do it, Lockyer comes in and does it then. Good chase, closes Briscoe off, and that is a difficult area to come out from, isn't it, Brian?
They've obviously put the ball in that corner for a reason. They've looked at young Tom Briscoe and Sean Briscoe at full back and thought, well, we've got more mileage down that side. But what you have to say, whatever plan you have, you've got to nail the kicks. And Cameron Smith, Lockyer and Thurston have nailed every one of their exit kicks, getting out of their own half kicks, because Australia, well, we've seen a little bit different. Australia are not that much of a threat at their end of the field unless you don't shape up and you get a bounce of a ball and Thurston gets it and then Inglis gets it. So you've got to be alive 80 minutes for the whole game.
And look where he's kicking from. Cameron Smith is kicking from the English half, whereas all the English lads are kicking from just outside their own 20.
Well, those men, in particular the one with the number 6 on his back, will in the future be regarded as all-time greats. And there are plenty here in this crowd admiring them who have achieved similar things in the past. And Damien is with a former Australian great, Arthur Beetson.
Yes, I'm in the company of Arthur Beetson, as you say, humbled to be so. Arthur, what's your impression of that first half from the Kangaroos?
Oh, the Aussies are too good, far too good. Probably they squandered away a lot of possession, a lot of good field position. The English people, Great Britain side, but mate, I don't know what they're going to do to get back in the game, but I think they should. I might be a dinosaur, but I think they've got to play a bit tougher, maybe put on the old bib.
Now, Arthur, you played in some great sides. How does this current Australian lineup compare to some of those?
Well, it's different eras for starters, but gee, there's some great players out there. Greg Inglis, the Slater, mate, there's players right across the board. Jared Haynes, you probably haven't seen the best of him today, but mate, this is a great Australian side, I've got to say.
Young Sam Burgess made a bit of an impact off the bench. He's coming down your way to play for Souths next season. Is he perhaps a hope for England?
I think so, yeah. I think, Gareth Ellis had a great season last year with the Tigers also, but, I like what Westwood done. I thought he tackled very good when he came on, and but I'd just like to think Mossy get a bit fired up and maybe rip in a bit. I'm not saying I'm cheering for the Poms, but I'm hoping they can turn things around a bit better in the second half.
Great to see you, Arthur. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Well, the England players coming out onto the pitch, but we've just got time to tell you that you can see highlights tomorrow at 10:45 of France against New Zealand. That match happening this evening at 5:30. France beset with problems. Also tonight, live on the red button, 7 o'clock, you can see the latest from the Track World Cup cycling in Manchester. Great Britain won 4 gold medals last night, and highlights on BBC 2 tomorrow at 2. And also at 2 o'clock tomorrow on the red button, the New York Marathon, which of course involves Paula Radcliffe. So Australia resume 26-0 to the good. How many points will be added, or can Carl Eastman there make a difference for England? Let's rejoin John Keir and Dave Woods.
Well, it's an interesting substitution, isn't it? Because it looks as though he's going to be playing right centre in this second half, with Lee Smith on the outside of him. And has Shenton switched to the other side? He's trying to make them out. I think Shenton switched to the other side, hasn't he?
Well, Shenton's always been in the left centre, so he's still there. But I think they've put Smith onto the wing, and I think Tom Briscoe's the one who's sat on the sidelines. So obviously Tony Smith has rightly been identified by our pundits in the studio. They really picked out Tom Briscoe to turn around and put a big chase on and pin him in that own quarter. So He's gone for a bit more experience in Lee Smith playing out there. Also, it's altered the right edge defence, so Tony Smith has attempted to fix up what was obviously a problem area from the first half.
It's a bit of a sticking plaster job, though, isn't it, in the context of the game? Australia leading here by 26 points to nil. Artie Beetson at half-time saying, bring back the biff. Maybe England's best hope, but we hope that they can beat them with a bit of rugby league in this second half. That'll be the call, won't it, from Tony Smith? Clean sheet, 40 minutes, let's win the second half.
I think basically this is chance 1 of 2, Dave, that England have got to get to the final. They beat New Zealand next week, they're still in the final, so basically what they've got to do is really concentrate on performance. And here's the Aussies again.
Thurston's kick took a deflection. It was fortuitous for Australia, but they are good at picking up their opportunities. And that was knocked on, was it, or was it sixth tackle? It was the sixth tackle in the end. So it's a hand over England's way.
I think Mr. Ganson gave that the England player didn't play at that, and I think he got it exactly right. It ricocheted off Roby, and they almost took advantage, but great piece of refereeing again from Mr. Ganson.
Here comes Crabtree, driving it in, good offload as well, and Briscoe was there, just had his ankles tapped as it happened by Shillington. He was down there on the floor. But reasonable start so far for England, but we have only played 1 minute and 34 seconds. Burgess inside the Australian half. It's Ellis now, running into that line. A couple of tackles left to play with England here. It's Tompkins, little chip over the top, that's cheeky. Maguire's ready as well. Maguire with the ball to Tompkins. Tompkins past Slater, but there was Lockyer. There's a bit of invention, bit of flair, bit of razzle-dazzle down the middle.
Well, that's the type of kick we're looking for in the first half. 50-50 jobs.
6 tackles, Slater's rushing back. Poor kick. Slater's taken the ground. I think what's he giving here?
Offside, I believe. Yeah, I think from that break they didn't quite get back, but that's great full back play from Billy Slade, you know. He was involved in the first play from Maguire, chip kick for Tompkins, and he really did hair back to cover that threat as well. But again, as you rightly said, it's a good start from England this second half.
Well, they've obviously thrown their inhibitions away, and so we might as well play as we normally play. That's Westwood, who's over the line, but he's quite clearly held on his back, so it's going to be a restart again, 10 yards back. Pressure's on here.
Well, perhaps as Arthur Beeton said, it isn't such a bad thing just to get hold of the ball and rip in, and let's carry the ball aggressively rather than worry about passing our way through.
Sinfield to Maguire. Maguire with a short flat pass again. Burgess with the offload through the legs of Maguire, picked up by Tompkins, fending off 2, grabbed up by Gallen and hauled down. Still 5 to come. Sinfield, Tompkins is having a little look as his opposite number. Here's Crabtree now. He really has, him and Burgess really have freshened things up since their appearance from the bench. Sinfield back on the inside. Burgess bounces it down. The referee wants a second look. Check the grounding. Did he have full control here? Burgess looks convinced.
Well, he may well look convinced, but the final decision will go to the video referee, Mr. Ian Smith. But again, it was enterprising play. It's pressure that England had built up. All comes down to the grounding. Nothing wrong with the build-up play. And for me, that's a try. Burgess looks confident. Burgess should be confident because Burgess has scored a legitimate try. No reason at all to disallow that. They may as well get the kicky tee out there. Let's get the 6 points on the board and let's see if we can restore some further pride. That's a try.
Yeah. We saw from the first angle absolutely clearly enough that was a try. Ian Smith is our video referee today. Wants to make absolutely certain. But it's going to be a try, surely. Surely England are not going to be denied. No, they aren't. Sam Burgess, the man who's made the impact. England have a score on the board. It's a long way back. It's a mountain to climb. But they've taken a first step.
Yeah, I like the attitude that England have come out with in the second half. Westwood's carry indicated that they were going to carry with a bit more purpose and aggression when he crossed the line but couldn't ground it. But that was some pretty clever play as well for Burgess to cross just by the side of the post.
Kevin Sinfield puts it over. England have begun their long, arduous trek back into contention. 26-6.
Yeah, and it came with this piece of invention. Tompkins kick for Maguire. Tompkins supporting, but what he was a 50-50 challenge to Slater. And once again, the field position's there, and it's a pretty clever dummy half play from Sinfield. Dragged the Australian defender out of position, and he put Burgess through into that gap. And he's a big, fine, strong fella, is Sam Burgess, and he finished it very well.
Well, it's a different England side we're seeing, isn't it? There's 4 minutes of the second half. They are taking it to the Australians here. Crabtree helping to lead the way. He's a big fella with a big reputation. Here's Westwood now, spinning out of a couple of tackles. Off it goes. Burgess with the inside ball. Briscoe with a half break. Briscoe has support from Tompkins. Decided to keep hold. The Australians with a hole ripped down the middle. Picked up by Tompkins, on to Maguire. Maguire throws it out. Interception. There was a knock-on first from Australia, surely. The referee says play on.
Well,
Hodges has it.
I think he's got that right. I think there was a knock-on from Australia, but you've just got to play what's in front of you.
Here's Shillington. Oh, he had it stolen. Ripped out by Roby. Now, was this a knock-on?
Well, it's the Australian that plays at the ball. He's knocked it forward. It then ricocheted off Shenton, but it's a knock-on that should have been head and feet to England. But the Australians didn't ask questions. They played on, and since then they've got the penalty 40 metres away from the England line. I'm sure that Thurston will just pump the ball over the sideline, and they'll start a tap set of 6.
Such an important 40 minutes this, isn't it, for England in this Four Nations?
It's vital.
If they, I mean, we're not suggesting they're going to win here, but if they can really be competitive in this second half, then it lifts their spirits for New Zealand next week.
And that's
still
the game.
Still a potential final.
I mean, what we're saying basically here is that the Aussies have played their way into the final by the looks of it, without being disrespectful to the French. But then England have still got an opportunity to get to the final should they beat New Zealand.
But they have to show that they can compete against Australia when that final comes around. It's still an awful lot of rugby league ahead of us before that scenario's reached. Here's Gallen, 5 yards away. They've got an important set to defend here, England. They don't want the balloon to deflate so early by conceding a try here. Thurston, poor pass, the Aussies are rattled. The Aussies are rattled.
Well, I think that they're rattled, and I think also a bit of a complacency switch have come in. I think they acknowledge that they're not going to be overtaken on the scoreboard, and the intensity and crispness has certainly gone from their play.
That's a slight hint of irony, by the way. Here comes Briscoe, shuffled another 5-10 yards farther downfield. Sinfield now picks it up. Westwood on his outside. Westwood carries it in. Just a hand in the face of Thurston. The ball comes free. It's picked up by Watmore in the end. It's England's clumsy handling which has given Australian possession here and position.
And that was in part the tale of the first half, wasn't it? Errors, whether they were forced or otherwise, in their own half of the field, give the green and gold great field position.
Farah, and on this left-hand side to Lewis. Lewis down in possession. 22 yards out. This is Farah again now. Back to Thurston. Thurston dummies one, then throws it to Lockyer. Lockyer now. Now they go expansive. Here comes Slater. Slater's long pass. Look forward, was forward. Into the hands of Jared Hayne. Scrum down, England's head and feet.
Yes, a bit of a let-off there. I thought that was the wrong pass decision anyway from Billy Slater. But it's certainly a let-off, and it was, I think it was fitting of a quarterback in American football there. It was about 4 yards, wasn't it? Or 4 metres, shall we say, forward.
It's very nearly a different hemisphere from which it was thrown and when it was taken. And we haven't seen Jared Hayne so far, have we? He's a player who's got a big reputation. He's a real superstar of the game, but normally plays at full-back for his club. But having to find a place on the wing for his country. Here's Sinfield. Ellis.
The speed of the Australian defensive line, though, it's phenomenal, you know, David. It really is.
Well, that's clumsy, but it was impediment from the Australian defenders, which has given a penalty here for England.
Yeah, and rightly so there. The foot from Gallen interfering with a clean play of the ball for England. So again, it's a good field position, and they've cranked it up a little of England the first 8-9 minutes of this half.
That's Morley's initial drive. Here's Maguire. Peacock. Those two blood and thunder characters back on the field. Here's Sinfield. Sinfield crabbing across that left-hand side, looking for some purchase, and gets it away to Tompkins, who can arc around and have a look what's ahead of him. Here he comes, just handing them off and trying to scrag his way through, but held down. Roby. Maguire up to the line, right up to the line. Difficult pass for Eastman to take.
Again, it was put under pressure though, wasn't he, there from Luke Lewis. It's getting the congratulations of his teammates, of his Green Gold compatriots, is Lewis. And he wanted someone to come out of the defensive line, but he flew out, put his pass under pressure, and his skill just broke down under that pressure. And that's all credit to the Australian defence, but once again, it's let the Green and Gold off the hook.
Here's Hayne, central position. Time, certainly in the playoffs in Australia, it was almost as if opposing players were scared of him, Jared Hayne. They stood off and watched and let him do his magic. Such was his influence on the field. It's a good offload. Here comes Hayne again now, in his stride. He's running in to Tompkins, who tenaciously hangs on and waits for a bigger fella to come and help out. Morley with the total tackle. That's a big hit. I think it was Ellis who put the shoulder in.
That was good speed of line from England there, and it put the Australians under pressure and forced the header, although the Australians came away with the ball.
Don't forget, once we've finished here this afternoon, as the kick goes downfield, it should be Briscoe's. Once we've finished here, we've got our red button forum again for your delectation. Just press that, or you can watch on the website rugbyleague@bbc.co.uk is the email address. From 4:30, the Red Button Forum. Unfortunately, if you're watching on Freeview, it is not on Freeview. Sinfield. Good play by Sinfield. Good pass away. There were some who were striking the chord for the end of Kevin Sinfield's international career 12 months ago, but I tell you, he's had a decent game today, hasn't he?
He's played some really clever stuff out of dummy half when he moved there when Robe went off the field, but Roby's playing a different role now. Sinfield still dictates that area, but that's a 50-50 shot again, but well cleaned up there by the fullback, but great chase from James Graham.
He was the only man who was chasing though, wasn't he? The big kick went up, nobody read it, and Graham, just as well from England's point of view, got after it. England putting some real mongrel now into their defending. Australia being asked to do some hard yards, and they are pretty tough yards at the moment, given England's determination.
Camden Smith and Petro Sevenasiva have returned to the fray. I'm sure that Robbie Farrell will have appreciated that.
Oh, it's been lost! Smith came in, Lee Smith quickly to gather it in.
Well, that's better right edge defence. They're not standing up and letting the Australians play. They're in the face, putting them under pressure.
Eastman. Dodge and dip by Kyle Eastman, but couldn't get through. Sinfield now picks it up, and Graham will take it on again and take it in, and thundering into that line of green and gold. Sinfield now, out from dummy half. Half court, but gets it away. Eastman now. It's a wall ahead of him, but he's been known to run through brick walls in his burgeoning career. Sinfield again. It's Peacock holding it up and offloading, and Sinfield throws it away smartly, and here's Maguire. Maguire onto Tompkins. This is more like it from England. Tompkins sidesteps Lockyer, but is put up and thrown down by Paul Gallen. Welcome to Test Match Rugby League. Maguire, quick hands by him. Good play by England, keeping it alive. Tompkins thought about the kick, throws it along the line. Collected by Eastman. They're closing in. Eastman puts the kick into the corner. Morris takes it, has to take it out of play. It'll be a scrum down. England's head and feet 10 yards out.
Yes, enterprising again. I like Sinfield's work from dummy half. I like the sense of urgency from the broken field people like Tompkins. But my word, he's the wrong man to run into, Paul Gallen. But that's a crafty piece of play there by Eastman. Smith chasing, and really Morris had no option but to carry the ball over the sideline.
Well, England are leading the half 6-0, and they're looking good for that, but they're trailing the game 26-6 as a result of those 5 moments of magic by the Australians, plus many more in that first half. Penalty for England here. Taken quickly. Here comes Graham. Graham charges it in. Off they come. The roar around the stadium now. More than audible. Louder and louder it gets. Maguire steps inside Watmore. Two more ready and waiting. It's good defence by Australia on their own line. Here's Peacock to Graham. Graham went for the soft hand option, then went for the line. Brett White pulls him down. Sinfield, they're running out of tackles. Peacock, Sinfield, Eastman wants it, Eastman gets it. Morris is up to him quickly. Eastman just has his shorts tucked out, and Brett Morris of St George Illawarra makes the tackle. It's Peacock with a solid drive again. But next tackle is tackle 6. What play do they go for here? It's Maguire. Maguire, little chip over the top. Off they go, caught, touchdown! Burgess is it? The referee wants another look. Question is, did he get it down before he went out of play? I have to say, Burgess doesn't look as confident this time.
No, but it's great play. They're actually building pressure now, England. They just keep repeating the sets, getting to the end of the sets, and then, as you see, you put a kick in that's a 50-50. It's a contest kick, and that's exactly what that kick was. It's a beautiful kick, just behind the second, third defender in. Good chase there from Burgess, and that might be why he's not very confident, Dave.
He didn't touch it down,
because
did
he hasn't scored.
That's no try. That's absolutely no try.
And he's lost it forward, so in all honesty, should be a tap 20. I know the Australians pushed it over the in goal, but Burgess lost the ball forward.
As we mentioned in the
did
first
the
half.
Australian pull it out, Dave?
As we mentioned in the first half, Russell Crowe, the owner of Souths, is the man who's persuaded Sam Burgess to move to Australia next year. The film star will be watching on somewhere, and he will be enjoying the way his young player is performing today. No try. Oh, it's a drop out underneath the sticks.
And I think he's got that right.
Yeah, decision was Australian hand.
Yeah, because the Australian hand pushed the ball out of Sam Burgess's reach. So I think that's a good decision from video referee Mr. Ian Smith. It's a real test for this online defence for the Australians. It's been ideal preparation, all honesty, for the rest of the competition. They've showed great attacking cohesion in the first half, and now they're having to do some work defensively.
Here comes Graham, James Graham.
Hold on.
5 tackles from here, and Morley now will send it crashing forward again. Good drive by Morley from the original hit, made another 5 yards or so. Just builds the momentum. Peacock, Maguire out to Briscoe. Briscoe dummies. Too tight. So he put his head down and tried to go through. Here comes Roby. Peacock. Lifted up and dealt with well enough. 5 interchangeables a piece for both sides. Maguire to Tompkins. Tompkins, little dart kick through again. Slater was across there. Well, he didn't come off this time, but at least he's showing that flair.
It certainly is, and look where the first tackle is there. It's within 10 metres of the Australian line, so it's a contest kick, but the Australians in that position, they're just happy to claim the ball. They're not bothered about returning it, because it's such a good kick. It's saying, we've half a chance of getting this ball. Slater's happy just to clean it up then, and that's tackle 1 gone already of the set.
So Australia starting from deep again here. Here comes Sivanasiva. Got the offload away. Got the arms free. Smith now. 2 tackles left in this set. English will not want to give away a free kick here, a penalty here. Just keep them to a minimum, the Aussies, if they can. Clear the ruck as quickly as they can and prepare for this kick downfield off the boot of Lockyer, that left foot. Sending it downfield. And Briscoe, Sean Briscoe, takes it safely enough. It's a good chase, good drive.
Good field position rugby, isn't it? Left-footed kick there from Lockyer, low trajectory so it finds the floor. Forced Briscoe to play it with his feet, which eats seconds up and allows the chase to get up and counter the British return.
Here comes Shenton. There's another who's not really had many opportunities to shine today, Michael Shenton. Roby. It's a fairly solid hit on him. And look how he's trying to get the arms free again to get it off, but can't do so. But they're almost up to the halfway line. Graham will take them beyond, but not much further. Next is tackle 6. There's an unrelenting rhythm to the game at the moment as both sides drive it forward. Maguire, quick hands, Peacock, now Eastman. Eastman sends it spiralling high. Tompkins after this. This big man underneath it. But a good tackle from Burgess again, who's starring in his second half.
He certainly is. I'm with you. I think Burgess and Crabtree can both feel happy with the contributions and may well look to start next week against New Zealand.
And Tompkins as well, given his head, he's making a difference too, isn't he?
And Sinfield at dummy half, so there are positives within this second half. I mean, I think England have certainly won the field position battle this half until now.
Here we go. Inglis in possession, left-hand side, has to come in. Eastman made half a tackle, might have been just enough to hold him up. He gets it away. Now it's Morris, but good scrambling defence from the English to get back and cover it up. Lockyer, Thurston, Slater on the inside. Graham had his number. He read that ever so well. Thump, take that, son. Down he went. Smith, tackle 6. Was kicking it behind Briscoe. There was almost a sigh of frustration audible from here from Sean Briscoe as he turned, but he'll be happy to see it bounce out of play.
Did well there, James Graham, didn't he? That was a superb piece of defensive play from the big prop forward. Lovely little inside ball, very clever. Almost, it did catch Adrian Morley, but there was Graham sweeping up on his inside for a superb tackle on the fullback.
There's Peacock. This is Sinfield. And now Morley. Oh, nicely away. Well taken by Roby. Had to be alert and was. Spinning it back towards a halfway line. Burgess. It's Roby again. Maguire. Oh dear. Oh, it was knocked on by Australia, was it?
I don't know whether...
first one, it'll be against England.
Yeah. Ellis, I believe, lost control of the ball. He was just dropping underneath Maguire's run, and he lost control of the ball in forward direction, although Smith couldn't clean it up. I'll tell you what though, David, when Cameron Smith's out there, I believe that Tim Sheens' team, Australian team, looks much more composed and organised, and they have also got a better kicking game as well.
Roy Simmons was the man alongside him. He's his assistant at West's. Former Hull coach as well, wasn't he? Days of yore. Penalty. Second effort in the tackle. Very good morning, by the way, to all those watching in Australia. These pictures going all around the world today from the BBC. Australian Rugby League fans will be greatly encouraged by what they're seeing from their side today. Certainly in contrast to last week.
I think they'll just be having confirmed what they already knew, that they've got some very, very talented individuals, and today Tim Sheens has really moulded them into a good team performance.
Here's Watmoe, Hannant, the prop forward. It's a sitting duck as out came Peacock to make the tackle. 26-6, but with 20 minutes of the second half played, that's a scoreline that would have been gratefully received by the English at half-time.
Move! Hold! Go.
Smith. Thurston with a couple of dummies, and Hindmarsh comes in. Eastman got round his kneecaps and held him up long enough for two more fairly diddy fellas to get in there, Maguire and Roby. Smith, Thurston, little dummy. Tackle 6 is the next. Australia 5 yards away. Smith out from dummy half. Now Lockyer with a kick over the top. Burgess trying to get up there. Slater got there. Burgess got it and just about gets back in the field of play. Well done, Sam Burgess.
That's great skill, isn't it, for a big man? Really is. It was a deft kick from Lockyer, and it was absolutely marvellous work from Sam Burgess, dropping out of the line and cleaning that threat up.
Here comes Graham. Billy Slater is so dangerous in these positions, isn't he?
Yeah, there's the skill there. The big prop forward comes second rower Burgess there. It was kicked purposely for Slater to chase, and Burgess it's very well indeed, and they've earned themselves a penalty once again, England, so that's relief again in the clearance. They've been pretty kind, been done kindly, haven't they, with penalties. 10-5 at the minute.
Here comes Crabtree, again fairly fresh from his spell on the sidelines. He's made a lot of impact with Huddersfield this season. Tony Smith looking on. Adrian Morley, 5 yards inside Australian territory. This is Roby. Now Tompkins, a little stumble. Sidestepped himself there. Hindmarsh comes in, closes him down, and he and Hannant make the tackle good. Graham stepping off that right foot and trying to launch himself through the perceived gap and almost forcing his way through. 4 gone, 2 tackles to come here. Roby, Maguire just trying to shake off Hannant. Put down, 20 yards out. Here's tackle 6, fairly central. So options right and left here. Which way do they go? To the left, into the hands of Tompkins. Tompkins kicking it up, sliced it back. Briscoe knocks it back. Oh, Maguire couldn't quite take it. One of those moments where if luck's with you, you're underneath the sticks. If it's not, it's hand over to the other side.
It's inventive though, isn't it? The kicking game has been much better. One, it's been better because they've had the field position, but the second thing, they're asking questions. They're making Australia scramble on that last tackle just to claim the ball rather than having the ball and trying to return it positively.
Well, the way this game has gone in this second half, you look ahead to the game against New Zealand next week with a lot more optimism if you're an England fan. Steve Ganson's given the penalty Australia's way.
Yeah, I think that's 10-6 now to the penalties.
Okay, mate.
And, the Australians will be very happy indeed to clear their own trouble position. And
Australia with the first half possession, you can see how much they dominated, 60%. The English have dominated in the second half, and 62%.
And don't the relative scorelines reflect that as well? 26-0 at half time and 6-0 with 25 minutes of the second half going on.
Australia looking to set up camp here though.
Hold. Go.
Looking to try and hammer another nail in this English line.
Hold.
Cameron Smith,
Go.
the dummy half. Hannant taking it forward again.
Move. Hold. Go.
Smith, Thurston, dummies to Sivanasiva. Thurston by himself, just had his ankles tapped by Graham. An important touch from the prop forward. The Aussies are piling up here. Smith with a kick through. Maguire had it read, but he's going to be behind his own goal line, and it will be a dropout underneath the sticks.
Yeah, it was good play, wasn't it, from Australia, and a great piece of defensive work that time from the kick from Maguire. Lovely little show and go from Thurston. Got them the bit of impetus, and it's a lovely little toe poke there through. And Maguire did really well, dropping out of the defensive line and just clearing up the problem for England.
Okay, boys, hurry up. Yeah. Right, new speed.
Well, they're taking their time here.
Yeah, look at the sets. Completely even. Stevens, 33 apiece over the course of the game. Australia.
Oh, Sivanasiva's knocked on. Big kick downfield. Sivanasiva was stretching at it, and the ball flighted forward, even though he was looking back towards his own line. And a dropout under the sticks has given England head and feet on the halfway line.
A cracking dropout, wasn't it, from Eastman? Fully 50 metres on the fly, and the shape of the Australians receiving it didn't allow them to clear that up. So all credit to the piece of skill there from Eastman.
Let's hear from Justin Morgan. Justin.
Yeah, much better second half there from England. They seem to be a lot more creative with the ball in hand. Their kicking's a lot better, and they seem to be getting a lot more possession in the opposition half. So if that can continue for the last quarter of this game, we might see some more points.
Ellis 10 yards inside Australian territory, picked up by Roby. Off they go again. Roby with the ball. It's Morley who clattered in. Roby, Graham. Here's Briscoe. Back by Roby again. Now Tompkins. Tompkins out to Shenton. Shenton trying to take on Hodges on his outside shoulder. Here's Hall. Tompkins. Roby. Dummies it in and takes it. It's not the best of offloads. Crabtree has it. Thurston's up. Crabtree sidesteps Thurston and gets the offload away. Here comes Eastman, who thought about the kick and then tried to duck underneath and almost got underneath the reach of Hindmarsh, but Smith was there as well. Tompkins sliding it in. He was taken out, was he? Slater out of play.
Great kick. First class end of set there by England. That created good field position. The beautiful little toe poke behind the defensive line. Credit to Slater, that's first class positioning by him. But because the kick's so good towards the corner flag, it allows the momentum of the English defensive line to actually push Slater into over the sideline and get a repeat set with a scrum. But that's the reward for a marvellous kick and an exceptional chase from Hall and Shenton.
This is Eastman. Now Briscoe. Head down. 10 yards out. Another try here really would lift English spirits. This is Crabtree. He wants to take them on, and he's going to take them on. Face to face. They're taking their time. Hannant's taking his time. Roby, the line rushed out, but Roby got it away to Eastman. Now Tompkins with a step. Tompkins with a skip. Ball back on the inside. He's reached and he's scored. Ellis with a try. Finger pointed. England have their just rewards. A second try in a second half that is a massive, massive improvement.
It certainly is, Dave. That was a quality try, and it came on the back of the repeat set. Tompkins' kicking skill and Harlan Shenton's enthusiasm in the chase created. They got the repeat set, and within that repeat set, they came up with a pretty good play. And then it is Tompkins sliding the kick through. Great chase, it allows to push Slater over. That it maintains possession during the set. Lovely shape there. Eastman ships the ball out to Tompkins. That's what I like to see Tompkins do. Take the line on, left foot to step, and did he do well, Westwood, to force his way over.
Sinfield's out of the kick. Well, look at this scoreline. Oh, it's Lee Smith actually. Lee Smith has put the kick over. And what about this for a scoreline? England 12, Australia 26. You could hardly have dreamt of that at half-time if you're an England fan, could you?
No, and it's down to some good play, and that's marvellous piece of play. Look at this, where he's taking the line on. The Australian defence were going sideways. Tompkins propped off his left foot. What a great finish from Westwood. That's down to determination, desire, and he has got control of the ball there. Gareth Ellis, magnificent try. Really is.
England 12, Australia 26. It's a game. It's a game. It's a competitive game again.
Well, I think we're getting too excited because I called the wrong try scorer out and it was Ellis that scored, and
I had the wrong
you
goal
called the wrong goal kicker, so we're all getting excited now.
It is England-Australia, isn't it? Well, here is Lee Smith. Michael Shenton will get there in the end. Burgess trying to burst his way through. Don't forget the forum, the Red Button Forum, after we finished here today, and more reasons to be cheerful in that forum now than there were maybe half an hour ago. Press your red button once it's finished, and you can email at rugbyleague@bbc.co.uk. It's not available on Freeview. That's from 4:30. Here come England, making good progress down this right flank, but tackle 6 is the next. Roby, now Maguire. Maguire puts a kick high. How good's this chase? Tompkins after it. Slater. Tompkins got there. Off it goes to Briscoe. Briscoe tries to get it away under pressure, but he's lost it. And Slater picks it up. But they're looking vulnerable, the green and gold, in this second half.
Well, any team when they're not getting the ball and they're being put under pressure with good play, any team looks vulnerable. And again, that's a contest kick. It's put in the end, it's set to Slater, you're going to have loads of traffic around you, and Tompkins came at the ball. It was unfortunate that Briscoe there didn't have support for him to offload to.
Well, the penalty, they've gone for broke and they've not got it. Ryan Hall comes back with possession for England.
Yep.
The horses are rattled, aren't they, in this second half?
Pressure does too. The fatigue, they're being starved of the ball, and England are simply turning, looking after the ball, and they're ending the sets very, very well indeed.
23,122 inside this ground today, and they're making their noises heard now, for the most part. Here's Graham. Eastman. Ellis, just flicked it over the head of Maguire. A nice lead by Lee Smith, because he saw that support was coming from Ben Westwood. Eastman, Maguire, now Peacock with a flat ball. Sean Briscoe's getting much more involved as well in an attacking sense in this second half. Roby now picks it up to Maguire. Maguire, the kick's poor, straight into the hands of Darren Lockyer.
Well, that's the worst end of the set we've had this second half from England, but at least they've turned the ball over deep in the Australian half.
John Keir, a former England coach, of course, World Cup coach in 2000, the man alongside me. Hayne, 30 yards from his own line, 8.5 minutes left to play. Sivanasiva taking it forward. What we have seen in this second half leaves you in no doubt that England are still Very competitive in this competition.
They really are. And I think Tony Smith's run the changes pretty well, and has ended up with just one interchange left with 10 minutes, and the Aussies have got 3. But here's Inglis once again.
Inglis runs into trouble, whereas in the first half he simply ran into space every time he got possession, but he's going to be greatly heartened by what he's seen in this second period. Now Thurston, jabbing it over the top. Briscoe, safe, and advancing towards him. Well, he ducked underneath Hannons, just as well he did as well. Westwood. There's Ryan Hall. Luke Lewis, the man who made the effective tackle in the end. He's in the way. Tompkins trying to push him out of the way, using him as a little bit of a shield as he advances towards the enemy. Westwood. Here's Peacock. Sinfield away to Ellis on his right hand side, and now Smith. Thurston's across very well to make the tackle. Smith wants to get on with it. Oh, he's off. 10 minutes in the sin bin. 10 minutes, Jonathan Thurston, for hanging on in the tackle. He moaned and moaned in the first half, questioned and questioned in the first half. He's still asking questions, but off he's go. The Aussies are down to 12 men for what remains of the game, because with only 7 minutes left he won't get back on. Sinfield now. Sinfield up towards Lockyer. Gets it back towards Tompkins. The English are enjoying themselves in their rugby league for a change now. Here comes Shenton. Shenton with a step. Slater just about got hold. Penalty again for England. Another 6 to hammer this Australian line.
Well, there's some real hard work the Australians having to put in defence, but all credit to England. They're looking after the ball pretty well, and they really are making the Australians work very, very hard to defend their own line. They've had the weight of possession, and for the most, they've made good use of it. And here's the penalty there. Slammed to the ground, Sam Tompkins.
And here's a position. Here's Eastman. Eastman with a wonderful ball. A dive by Lee Smith to score. I think he'll have a look at the video referee for whether the feet were in touch. But I'm pretty certain that Lee Smith dived in and got the ball down.
Well, you're certain, Dave, and I'm certain as well. He crossed the line and grounded that ball. No doubt in my mind. Very good try indeed. He finished it really well. Went low there, prevent himself being pushed over the sideline. You see here, oh my word, as he crossed the goal line before his foot hits the sideline. I was convinced with the naked eye. You use technology, I think that's a try still. The ball has broken the goal line before Smith's foot brushed the sideline. I'm certain of that. Again, just watch the ball, and as it breaks that goal line, where's his foot? It's just in the field of play, and he raises it, then after it brushes the sideline, that should be no problem, that should be a try. And what a finish we've got in hand now.
Well, Ian Smith has made his decision and has given the try for England. And it's looking a lot more robust scoreline now from an English point of view. 3 unanswered tries in this second half, a kick to come. What a response, what a magnificent response. They're going to run out of time in terms of actually winning the game. Sinfield's kick is just wide. It remains 26-16, but it wasn't about winning the game in the second half. It was all about reinventing themselves, giving themselves belief. And boy, have they given themselves belief.
And didn't he do well, Lee Smith? There's the sin bin of Thurston, and rightly so. He'd been rubbing Steve Ganson up the wrong way. And just look at there, the foul play on Tompkins, which again gave the English another set. And it was the pressure eventually that did tell. And Sinfield involved again. I think he's had a pretty good game, Sinfield. That's a great finish from Lee Smith. Really is. That's how a wingman should finish. Low and for the just inside the corner flag. Great finish.
Big kick high. Back it comes. And you can't remember too many chances the Australians have had in this second half.
I can't remember the Australians being in the English half with ball in hand very much, to tell you the truth.
And it's all very well saying they were winning and they were leading by 26 points to 0. Good sides do not switch off. And that's what not what they've done exactly, but England have really brought it back at them as well.
Yeah, the possession in the second half has been phenomenal towards England, 63%, and they've really made use of it by dominating territory and creating chances.
Ellis with the play the ball. Here comes Sinfield. Sinfield's pass to Tompkins has just been a belief. It was almost as if at half-time they said, well, we've nothing to lose, let's play like we can play. And they have done, and it's worked. Sinfield's been superb. Little chip over the top. Eastman collects it. Eastman puts the head down. He's going to be caught, but he's got support. Throws it back to Shenton. Shenton gets it away. Oh, it's knocked on. Roby couldn't quite pick it up. Could have been another England try.
Well, if we'd have had a try then, there'd have been 1 or 2 seeds down the Australian man. But that's very, very inventive play again. Little right-footed chip. Eastman following through. I'll tell you what, England certainly know how to use the kicking game next time they play Australia, or for next week against New Zealand. Make them contests.
Lockyer looks a bit hurt at the moment. You can see him in the back play there, just getting a bit of treatment. He was hobbling a moment ago. The Australians will be a damaged product at the end of this game. Strutting and strolling to victory after 40 minutes. Not quite hanging on, but certainly a long way away from being comfortable in the second half.
They'll be glad to hear the hooter, I'll tell you, Dave. They really will.
Here's Hindmarsh. Oh, the offload is risky. Has given England possession, has it? First knock on, he says. It'll be England's head and feet here.
Yep. Well, Slater in back play has just thrown the ball away as well, so to use one of your phrases, the Australians are rattled.
Slater getting back into position. He was incurring the wrath of this big English support, having just simply thrown it away to waste a bit more time. 3 and a bit minutes left to play. It's impossible, isn't it, for England to win from here?
Is it?
2 tries, they have to score. Here's Eastman. Now Briscoe.
First! Move! Hold!
Now Roby.
Go!
Up and away from dummy half again. If they score in this set, it is going to be a frantic last minute or so.
Move!
3 minutes to go.
Go!
It's Peacock. Sinfield. Inside for Tompkins. Tompkins spins it away for Eastman. Eastman gathers it in. Takes on that Australian line. Ducking the shoulder. 8 yards away. 3 tackles to come. Ellis. Forward pass. That moved forward. Yeah, it was forward. Frustration. Because with that forward pass, you would have thought goes any lingering hopes of an England miracle comeback.
I just felt they'd got the momentum there. That was the wrong play for James Graham to select. It'd have been better carrying the ball, going at the defensive line and then trying to pass rather than more of a static pass. It was just a tip on, basically, that. It was a tip on forward, and it's let the Australians off the hook.
Here's Gallen. But England's Four Nations tournament is up and running. It started at about, what time? 3:30 this afternoon. But it started 40 minutes earlier. We would really have a reason to rejoice, English Rugby League fans. But at least they've got themselves with some self-confidence, some self-belief the way they played in this second half. 3 unanswered tries. They have rattled Australia. Australia, with due deference to the French, are almost certainly going to be in the final now, which means that next week England against New Zealand will almost certainly be a decider for who joins them in that final. Good kick, but back goes Smith to collect 5 yards from his own line. Now Briscoe, look at the chase again though, it's a terrific Australian chase.
And that's just the set that they're required just to settle everything down.
Well, the man of the match today has been chosen by the written press, the written media, and it is an Australian who's won it, and Greg Inglis is our man of the match today, the Gillette man of the match, no doubt as a result of his first half performance. There are a few English candidates in terms of the second half. Peacock, good barging run by him. Westwood. Another penalty. They've given some penalties away in the second half, the Aussies, haven't they?
Yeah, they really have. I believe England have conceded 7, and I believe the Australians it's 12 or 13. So 13 it is. So that really helps when you want possession of the ball, doesn't it?
Sinfield. Good take by Ellis and a step back on the inside as well. Into the final 30 seconds of the game. It looked bleak. It looked bleak at the end of the first half when Australia were leading by 26 points to nil, but anything but in this second period. Tompkins tried to get a boot in there and did. Another 6 tackles, came off the Australian hand. Tompkins, Sinfield, Briscoe. Big hit by Hindmarsh.
That's good defence that at this stage of the game. And we're coming up now, the last play probably.
They play till 10 o'clock tonight. Nathan Hindmarsh should still be putting in big hits. Well, that's it, full time. It's an odd reception at the end. Eventually they're off their seats to applaud what has been a wonderful, wonderful second half performance by England. They know they can compete now. They were blown off the park in the first half by Australia. But my word, what a response. The second half suggests they still have a future in this Four Nations.
The cliche, a game of two halves, my word, how this was. It was 26-0 and it was like two different teams entered the arena in the second half. And England will really have rebuilt some confidence, rebuilt some self-belief, and it will allow them to go into next week's game, which will be a decider for who gets the final against New Zealand with some confidence.
First half outplayed, second half they played. England 16, Australia 26 is how it's finished.
Well, you would never have predicted that at half-time, that Australia wouldn't score a single point in the second half. England really came out. They came out with purpose and aggression and a great attitude and scored 16 points. Could have been more even. And we will hear from some of the players involved, including the man of the match, Greg Inglis, who scored the first half try for Australia. Justin Morgan has come out to our studio here. You watched the first half pitch side, you watched the second half in the studio. How would you sum it up?
Well, they played with a lot more freedom in the second half, England, didn't they? They offloaded the ball. They seemed to not have a care in the ball. I'm not sure if the occasion may have got to them in the first half. You know, we've spoken before about sometimes English teams can sometimes be a little bit awestruck by the Australians at times, and maybe that was the problem. But I thought Australia were outstanding in the first 40 minutes. But second half, much more encouraging for the English team. And, you know, if they can continue in that vein over the next couple of weeks, you know, you would imagine they're going to get to the final.
Well, we mentioned the man of the match, Greg Inglis, and he is about to be presented with, I suspect, a bottle of champagne. Damien Johnson is with him.
Yes, Greg Inglis is the Gillette man of the match. Take your trophy, Greg. Well done. Greg, explain that to me. A bizarre game. Australia out of sight in the first half, and England came back so well in the second.
That's what a Test match is all about, and you know we spoke about that about half time, and you know they came out in front of the home crowd in the second half and just pretty much built us off the park, and we never scored any points, but luckily we scored enough in the first.
With the best will in the world, did you take your foot off the gas a little bit?
No, I don't think we took our foot off the gas a little bit. I think we just didn't complete our sets and didn't do what we spoke about half time, and just complete the sets and get down there half like we did in the first.
Just talk about that first half, because Australia in the first half were breathtaking.
Yeah, we did a lot of ball work during the week, and we wanted to improve last week, and we did play the world champs last week, and was lucky enough to get a 20-all draw on that, and we just got to keep improving and hopefully we get to the final.
Where does this leave the tournament? Wide open?
It can, because you never know about France or anything. So, France are a very strong side the way I see them. So, we just got to wait and see.
Thanks very much, Greg. Well done. Darren Lockyer is with me as well. Darren, congratulations, another win. First of all, you took a bit of a knock towards the end. Are you okay for the rest of the tournament?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. Just bugging. We did a lot of defence in the second half.
What about that first half? Because Australia really were either running away with it.
Yeah, well, in the end we were lucky. We got away to a good start because we nearly got ran down. But it was good football from us in the first half.
33rd try, record equalling for you. You must be delighted with that.
Yeah, don't score as many these days as I used to, so everyone's a bonus.
Are England still in with a shout in this tournament?
Yeah, I mean, with our draw last week against the Kiwis, England just got to win next week and they're through.
Thanks, Darren.
No worries.
Darren Lockyer's voice, a hangover from a nasty try a few years ago on his throat, just shows you the sort of range of injuries that players can pick up and try to play through. And I stand corrected on the man of the match. It was a trophy, not a bottle of champagne. Well, let's hear from the defeated England coach, who I'm sure is looking for positives to take, particularly from the second half, Tony Smith.
Tony, how do you make sense of that? It seemed to be two different England sides today.
Yeah, it was a bit like that. No, they got off to a bit of a flyer. They put on a few really good plays, the Australians, but they took advantage of a few of our mistakes as well in the first half. They got some exceptional people on the edges who can do that to you, and but you know, we grafted down there a bit in the second half and showed what we're a bit more about and played a bit more the way we like to play and with a bit more flamboyancy with the ball, and things went our way, and we're a lot better defensively in the second half as well.
How did the discussion go at half-time? Because the lads must have been pretty demoralised at 26-0 down.
Yeah, well, that's when you can test your character, can't it? And show the character that they've got, these boys. We're disappointed with the scoreline, and you know, we want to do better, and we wanted to do better, and we just spoke pretty level-headed about that and went out there and did something about it. And then, you know, I'm proud of the way that the players went about it. You can easily throw the towel in or show some character, and all these boys showed some character.
At the end of the day, it's still another defeat. I mean, some people will wonder, is there a mental block now with the England players playing against Australia?
No, I don't think so. No, it's you know, they're a good challenge. They're arguably the best in the world, and you know, we'll keep working towards it. And you know, we'd like another crack at it, but we're going to earn that right next week.
How important next week is New Zealand?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, another great contest, and we'll look forward to that as well.
Well done, Tony. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, if they start the match against New Zealand the way they started the second half here against Australia, it'll be very exciting indeed. Sam Burgess spinning and turning after a great kick for Tompkins there with the ball, but you'll see the kick here from Danny Maguire, and Burgess takes it and spins.
Yeah, it's a good run by Burgess. You know, hits the hole late. He just attacks, you know, the marker. Gallen, his first marker, he's just a little bit slow to get across, and it's a great finish. You have to say, it's a great stretch. Got a lot to do and does it well. Great try.
Let's hear from the try scorer. Sam Burgess is with Damien.
Sam, if the game had kicked off at 3:30, it might have been a different story, mightn't it?
Yeah, I think first half we tried to play too much into our systems, and I think it cost us really. We made a few errors, and they capitalised. They've got some good outside backs, and you know, today it proved that if you give them ball and space, and you know, it's going to cost you.
I would imagine it was a pretty demoralised dressing room at half-time, wasn't it?
No, I think we need to be positive in that situation. We just need to be positive, forget about the scoreline and come out fighting in the second half. And you know, I think we did that. I think we've got some positives to take, but also a lot of negatives to take out of that first half. And you know, we'll try and build on that, and you know, put it right for the Kiwis next week. Was there a time in that second half where you might have thought we can really turn this round here? Yeah, I think there's always a shot in rugby league. You know, it's never over till it's over. I think in that last 10 minutes, if we'd have gone over, you know, anything could have happened. But you know, the score's as it is, and we've got to deal with that and building it for next week to get the final.
Gareth Ellis is with us as well. Gareth, how much encouragement do you take from that fight back this afternoon?
Yeah, we've got to take a lot really, and I think we need to take that sort of second 40 minutes into training this week, and the energy that we showed. You know, we showed that we've got the skill and you know, and the belief there in the end to do it. We just probably didn't. We lacked a little bit of that in the first half.
Talk about mental blocks playing the Australians. I mean, Tony Smith's denied that that's there. You play in Australia. I mean, they're human, aren't they, at the end of the day? That's exactly right, and that's sort of been the message that a lot of us have been trying to get across, you know, in the week. I think there has been a little bit of a mental block there in the past, and, you know, that second half performance should get rid of any of those sort of queries about Australia. All set up nicely for next week and the New Zealanders. Yeah, well, you know, the destiny's in our own hands now, and you know, like I said, we need to take that 40 minutes into next week and play with that sort of energy that we showed in the second half. Thanks, Gareth. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
We'll see Gareth Ellis's try in a moment or two. There is the England dressing room. And Jonathan, of the young players who can take real heart from their second half performance, would Sam Tompkins be one of them?
Yeah, I think so. And it was interesting to see what Burgess said. They played, you know, the system in the first half, which obviously didn't suit them. It doesn't matter what you do, you have to have a system, you know, when you're coming out of your own quarter. But, you know, Tompkins played really well, and this is what you've got to try and do at the end. Not one of his greatest kicks, but, you know, he takes it to the line, little chips again. It's just making it a contest. Briscoe played well in the second half as well. And it's just when you're on your last play, you've got to have a kicking game which is going to, you know, you can compete for the ball. And field position was better, but he played well as well. Eastman played well. Comes off his left foot twice, lovely offload, and again it's a great finish by Ellis. Burgess did well to finish, and so did he. So First half they got blown away, and how much did Australia take their foot off the pedal? But second half, you have to praise them and say they played extremely well, and it gives them confidence for the next game.
Well, let's hear the analysis from the winning coach, Tim Sheens.
Tim, we'll talk about the second half comeback from England in a moment, but first, in the first half, was that as good as you've seen Australia play?
Well, we were determined. I'd have to say it was a good half of footy from our point of view. Although some of them were long-range tries, they were well constructed, which last week we really didn't look like doing. So what we need to do now is put together two halves.
Do you think mentally they took the foot off the gas a little bit, your players? 26-0 up and coasting, really?
Yeah, but I wouldn't disrespect England by saying that. I'm not happy with that. I spent a lot of time at half-time making sure that I didn't think that had happened. But England got better ball, the penalty count went their way, they got better field position, we were tired, they got a lot of back-to-back sets off last play options from them. So at the end of the day, we were out of gas at the back end of the game, but we'd done enough to win it. But we need to still work hard to hopefully be here in 2 weeks' time.
Just a word about your captain, Darren Lockyer, 33rd try, record-equalling try for Australia. He's terrific for you.
Fantastic. I thought his game was great. His leadership was good. Key players played well and got us, played to their potential. But Darren, at his age and with those sort of milestones being knocked over, it's a credit to him.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Tim. Thank you.
Well, the Australian players clearly don't need their shorts anymore, taking them off and giving them away to the crowd. Just to let you know, the standings in the table, God, taking their socks off as well. Australia now on top with 3 points.